Word on the street. FisMaz show. What's the word on the street? Like who got the beats that be killing the game? Who's up on the scale? Who playing who? What's the score on the sheet? Fiso the Prince got him taking the seat. Got the legends giving us the 411. Fiso Maz from the 031. No hating sports and entertainment when we got it on and we're the only ones. And after all that action, never how we dripping high fashion. Drippy on some rich municipal stylists and soak up with passion. If it's giving us less, then we never settle. Make sure you pull up and bring all your medals. Sit back and relax, let's go. It's FisMaz bringing you the FisMaz show. It's the FisMaz show. It's the FisMaz show. It's the FisMaz show. It's the FisMaz show.
Hello and welcome everyone. Plenty has been happening in the sporting world and I'm so fired up for today's show because, well, I get to touch on a few topics, but the first one I really want to get stuck into is, of course, the retirement of the great Dale Steyn. So, yeah, I want to go to this quick soundbite of, I guess, a few tributes for Dale Steyn because what a performer he's been for South Africa. And us at the FisMaz show, we want to take our hats off to him and say, well done, an outstanding career. Dale, you have been gone. To us, you will always be the GOAT. So, yeah, a tribute to Dale Steyn to start the show.
Here we go. How does this end then? Dot ball. Oh, Dale Steyn, you little beauty.
Got him! Bowled in, that's a big wicket. Very big wicket. Steyn breaks through, knocks over the informed caddies for 54.
Yeah, time then to start, I guess, the main part of the show, and that's all about Bafana Bafana. And in order to do that, I had to bring in some of my favorite guests. Former Bafana Bafana striker Stanton Lewis joins me, as well as Menzi Noble, I guess, who is our resident local football correspondent. He does a lot of stuff with us. So, yeah, really excited to have both of them. I want to let Stanton in. He's going to be the first one just to touch on a few issues with regards to, I guess, our football, our strikers. Can they do a little bit better? He thinks he's quite a handsome man. He's sitting in the dark at the moment. Stanton Lewis, but nonetheless, yeah, really looking forward to engaging with him and seeing just what he thinks with regards to how we can do better as a striking force on the continent, internationally. I think he's busy taking pictures right now. Stiger?
Fiso, how are you doing, my man?
Hey, my brother.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, man, good to see you. How's the injury coming along?
Yeah, it's good. Rehab has been well. So, yeah, on track.
I'm asking myself, Stanton is still getting injured even in his retired days. What's going on, man?
When you're too competitive, Fiso, you tend to push yourself to the next level, and that's what I've always been. And unfortunately, that's when I snapped my Achilles. So, yeah, it's a real Achilles heel for me, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Look, Bafana Bafana, 1-0 winners against Ghana. A Ghanaian side that perhaps is not what it used to be. But nonetheless, when you think of international football and qualifiers more specifically, how important is it just to win your home matches?
Yeah, look, you have home advantage. You should take advantage of that. Although there's no crowd, we know the fields. Our players play on these fields all the time. As for the Ghanaian side, yeah, I expected more from them. They have real superstars in that squad, whereas we have up-and-coming youngsters, and they have bright futures. They competed well, and yeah, I think we were fortunate to get a goal. In all honesty, the game should have been won by the one striker that missed Magopa. He missed the sitter. But nonetheless, look, we got a goal.
Stanton, let's be honest here. That wasn't a sitter. That was... in Zulu, we call it imbuze, fail. It's a goat that's already slaughtered. It's there. All you have to do is just cut it into pieces, and he still couldn't cut it to pieces.
Look, they say the easiest is the most difficult ones to finish. I think his anticipation wasn't on. He thought the keeper had it in the hands, and he wasn't expecting it. But as a striker, I think you have to be alert at all times, especially like Mark Williams says, when you are in the kitchen, you make sure that you switched on.
What is that?
When you are in the kitchen. Not the kitchen, but the kitchen.
Did he say that when he had his teeth in or out?
Yeah, I don't know if he can say it if he has his teeth in. So yeah, I thought it was out when he said the kitchen.
Oh man, the nation builder, one of the great characters of South African sport, a true hero, no doubt.
And a goal scorer.
Yeah, pure goal scorer. And I mean, that actually takes me to my next point, Stiga, because goal scoring, I mean, why is it such a national crisis? Like, you know, again, and I'm not hopping on Makopa's miss because, look, it happens. It's a once-off. Yeah. He's shown that he has the ability to potentially get better. But goal scoring, nonetheless, I think across the board in South African football has been an issue for some time now. I mean, when last did we have someone who scored 20 goals in a season, you know? Yeah, so, I mean, let's touch on that. And how potentially, I know you're in coaching now, how potentially we can try work towards improving that.
Look, Fiso, the first thing we need to ask is, what have we done about it? It's been years since we had a national goal scorer. What have we done about it? The second thing is, you are only as good as you are coached. So in saying that, development plays a huge role here. I think if we work on that from a young age, teach players where to run, how to finish, what technique to use when you're in a certain area, in the box, out the box. I mean, that makes a huge difference. And that's why the Europeans can score goals, is because they're taught the basics and they focus on developing players from a very, very young age. Whether you're a defender, a midfielder, and a striker. Remember, they develop a player for any position. And that's why you'll see Sergio Ramos getting up there, scoring a penalty, scoring a header. And if he's outside the box, he'll crack it as well. I think we need to focus a lot in South Africa because that's where we lack. And I think strikers in this country, we have the talent. We just don't have that sharpness in front of goal, as well as the calmness. And together, if you have both of those with a great technique, then you're getting goal scorers and you'll take opportunities like you've seen today.
I mean, I look back at your days at Ajax Amsterdam and I think to myself, you got to work with arguably one of the great goal scorers of the 80s, Marco Van Basten. When you think of world-class player, when you think of a player who could score pretty much all types of goals, he would have been the perfect mentor, you know. And what did he teach you about, I guess, not only the game itself in its entirety, but also just with football as a whole and that attacking side of it? What were the key elements that he would have taught you?
Yeah, look, the first thing is getting in the right position. Whether you were a striker or not, a winger, you get into the right position, you adjust your body towards goal, and whatever you do from there, it will end up hitting the target. A lot of our players are facing the other way, trying to score back heels. Yes, you get wonder goals, but the advice that I can give and that I've got from some of the best in the world was to be calm in the box, to know your surroundings, so always checking your shoulder, and then have that little bit of finesse and technique to finish. It is not easy. Don't get me wrong. It sounds easy, but you have to practice. And once you train and run into the right positions, you need guys to supply you. You need balls to come in. You need different situations, match situations, where you're finishing from all angles, you're finishing from awkward angles. Then you learn to adjust your body. Once you adjust your body and you're on goal, it makes it so much easier to just use the right technique and timing to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, you know, it's always such a frustrating thing. I watched the game against Zimbabwe and I thought to myself, man, they were there for the taking. I looked at the game against Ghana today and I thought, oh, this could be one of those where we want to walk away thinking, here we go again. Bafana Bafana doing what they, I guess, do best. And I'm not trying to be, you know, overly critical, but there has been that sense of frustration over the years where we just don't get it right at international level. And again, it looked like it could potentially be one of those.
Yeah, look, so you get away with it in our local league. You know, you'll get away with missing those chances. You get 20 chances and you score one. But international, when it matters most, and you playing to qualify for a World Cup, I mean, that's crucial. It's critical that you make sure you are there to score and you helping this nation. Imagine we had conceded after not, you know, or after flopping our chances. We sit back again, like you said, and we say, oh, well, we dominated, we had the chances, we just can't put it in the back of the net. This game is about scoring goals. You score goals, you don't concede, you win. As simple as that. We need to focus because we have players that can play. We can play this game. What is our end result? What is our final cross? What is our finish? You know, where is that? And that is what we need the most. So why not focus and work on what we need to do, which is the final ball into the box and the finishing.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess to move on from finishing, you know, I don't want to hop on that too long. You know, another really interesting point. I don't know if Menzi can hear us at the moment, but you know, I look at holistically, and I look at Bafana Bafana potentially trying to qualify for Qatar 2022. We've had Project 2020, Project 20. I don't know. We've had all the projects in the world, you know, but it's just has never happened, you know. And there's a great sports saying that I've always really enjoyed, where they say, you know, a goal without a plan is a wish. You know, do we have the plans in place to get to that goal, or are we just creating these cool slogans? Project 2022, Project 2028, whatever the case may be. Do we have plans for those, or are we just, you know, drawing things on a board and saying, okay, let's let the clubs take care of the players that we need to bring in as SAFA, as the governing body of our country? Is there anything genuine that's there that points us to how we're going to get to that project that we're eyeing next?
Yeah, look, that's a great point that you brought up. Have you seen anything? I haven't seen any goals. I haven't, like you said, it's just a wish. So we just hoping for the best. We go out to each match and hope for the best. That's the wrong approach. If you have a plan, you put that plan into action, and then you get results. I think a lot of people just go out there and play and get a good player, a good striker. He finishes in training, he finishes in our Premier League. But is he that good to go overseas to play there? Have we fine-tuned him? Have we developed him enough? Once they reach 21, it's very difficult to then change a player's habits. So I think it starts from a very young age, Fiso, and it's the basics. We just need to know how to do the basics right. And from there, we can then, you know, obviously advance and go into a little bit more technical things. But for me, the first thing is, if you want to have a plan, write it down, share it with us. If SAFA has the plan, SAFA, please share the plan with us so that we can start developing our players in the right way. I know what I'm doing here, which is the basics. And once you have the basics, everything else will just follow. You can't be an advanced player without the basics. Simple as that.
There's actually, I mean, again, I'm referencing another something else that I heard recently, when there was a journalist who, he was a journalist, but also a potential, he loved coaching. And he's like, I want to find out how Kobe Bryant, one of the great players in the NBA, how he works and how he trains. And Kobe's like, cool, you can come in, you know, into one of my one-on-one sessions with my shooting coach. I'm going to be there at 5 a.m, right? And the guy's like, you know what, I'm going to get there. I want to get there before Kobe. I'm going to get there at 4:30, and I'm going to show him just how much, you know, I want to potentially learn, and how potentially, you know, how hungry I am to get better. And, you know, he got there. And as he got there, he saw the lights already on in the gym. And he could hear almost like those basketball court shoes go squeaking around. And you know, he said to himself, who could that be? Because Kobe only said he's coming in at 5. And Kobe had been there since 4, you know? he was already putting in his workouts and warming up essentially for an hour before he starts his actual session at 5. One of the great players, one of the very best players of his generation, but still Kobe Bean Bryant would put in the hours. And the one thing that guy took from that session, he said, this guy was in there doing the things I was teaching high school kids. And he asked Kobe, he's like, why are you doing these like really simple drills? And he's like, if you can't do the basics, you can't do anything else. So I make sure that my fundamentals and my basics are unquestionable. I can do them in my sleep. I do them every session. So again, going back to your point, you can't be out there, trying to do overhead kicks and you can't trap the ball. It doesn't really help. That's how vital, I guess, as you were saying, those basics are.
Yeah, exactly. How many times do you do a bicycle kick in a game versus how many times you need to control a ball or be in the right place or finish or do make a proper pass, a well-weighted pass. Like you said now, to your point with Kobe coming in early, it's all planning. It's planning. And if our players can work by 5 Ps, which I use, well, it came on later in my life now in business, it's proper planning prevents poor performance. And that is something that really, really, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Our players wake up too late because once you hear there's interest from Europe, all of a sudden the players training 2-3 times a day. It's too late. You need to have that dedication and the belief when you are a youth player. You play and plan for your highest height. So your goal is to go to Europe. You have to train twice. You have to train 3 times a day if you have to, when you have the time to do it. And that's just the test. Your exam comes on the weekend when you have a game. And that's where you have to put in whatever you've studied in, during the week and during your training sessions.
Sorry, my bad. Technology getting the better of me there.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, again, great points with regards to, I guess, those 5 Ps. I mean, I think if you've been in the sporting world and like you're saying in the business world, you kind of get that kind of an understanding. Can you holistically just make sure that you're taking care of the small things? And no doubt, I look at a coach like Hugo Bruce, and I think to myself, he's a coach who he's won the AFCON. I know a lot of people still had a bit of question marks when he was brought in, especially on the back of Molefin Zeki against really not achieving what was set out for him, which was to qualify for AFCON. But you look at Hugo Bruce as a coach, he's gone and he's backed the youth. We've often, again, I go back to the projects that we've had in the past. We've been building forward, but still picking the old guys that failed to do it. Do you think he's made the right call now, along with the selectors and whoever gets as the decision makers, to say, I'm going to go with the kids. If I fail, I'll fail with the kids. Because if I succeed with the kids, it gives me a good platform to build going forward and to set the team up for whoever potentially takes over.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what he's come in and done. Look, the results, they talk for themselves. So far, a draw and a win. Good for him. Good for the club, for the country. You look at the players he selected. Yes, they're young players, but they can play. They hold their own. And if you're building for the future, if you're building for 2022, how can we have a 35-year-old? Will he be eligible and fit enough to play in 2022? I don't think so. So the approach he's got right now suits us perfectly with the right players. I think another thing that has been cut, and you can see it, is the egos. You don't have these so-called big name players in the squad calling the shots, having your separate groups within the team. And these boys look hungry. They look like they're willing to learn, and they're still learning. Come 2022, if he keeps this batch of players and they keep their heads, we might surprise a lot doubters out there.
But a quick one, with regards to that, I mean, obviously you've mentioned, I mean, we're not mentioning any names in particular, but when you mention, I guess, the older players, 35, 33, whatever the case may be, is there benefit at all in having one or two of those kinds of players? Or do you believe, I guess, the winds of change that have come about have been spot on? And perhaps when you speak of experience, you're looking at guys like Sianda Kulu, who is not, he's not too old. He's kind of in that mature stage of his career. Ronan Williams, who again also not too old, but he's been around for a really long time. Is that the kind of experience that then becomes perhaps a little bit better as opposed to the guys who will refuse to budge from their thinking and who might in a negative way influence the group?
Yeah, look, I think you look at the player, you look at the personality. You look if it's an experienced player that will help the youngsters, whether he's in or out the team. Definitely Tulu and Williams, yeah, they obviously rubbing off positively on the rest of the boys. They've been around. There's something that you can't buy, which is experience, and they look like they gel well with the group. They lead from the back as well. So, it's vital positions with vital personalities that would help and rub off positively on the rest of the team, on the youngsters especially. If you have a player where there's a big ego that's there for himself, then you kind of have a problem, because that player would not want to share his knowledge. You wouldn't want to be sitting on the bench, and he'll probably bring a bad aura to the team just because there's a youngster in his spot.
I mean, is that something that you would have had to deal with, in your career? That kind of, I mean, I see it in most places. I mean, in television and I guess in any place where there's employment or there's kind of you jostling for a similar position, there's some people who just don't take a liking to you because, well, you could potentially take my spot. Is that the right frame of thinking? I guess for an older person who's been there and done it, there's a beauty though in passing on the baton. There's a beauty though in sharing that experience, and you bump into someone in 10 years, 15 years time, and that person just says, "Man, that person helped me so much." That's a beautiful thing in my eyes, but I guess not everyone sees it like that.
Yeah, look, not everybody will see it like that. Of course, I've come across both sets of players: the ones that feel threatened, and the ones that know their place and they know that it's almost their time, and they'll help you and guide you. Look, you just as a youngster, you got to be strong. You got to know what's right and wrong. Obviously, your personality will come into play, and it will test your character. 100%, it will test your character, because you got to have both. You got to be soft and you got to be hard at the same time. It's healthy competition. I mean, an older guy wouldn't just want a youngster to walk in and take his place. Of course not. But if that player is satisfied with what he's done in his career and he's now able to pass it on, then you have a good person. But if someone is bitter and they feel that they still want to play and they're the top goal scorer and they don't want anybody to overtake them, yeah, then that's a bad apple, and the bad apples have to be kicked out.
It's a really interesting subject with regards to team environments. And again, I keep referencing other sports, but I always like to take inspiration from other sports with regards to, I guess, my chain of thought. And you make a great point there with regards to how senior figures can be within a team environment. But also, as a youngster, to walk into change rooms and be able to make your mark, you almost got to also win over the change room, don't you? And how important is that? Because I'm sure when senior players see, hey man, listen, this kid can play, there's an air of change that comes about.
Yeah, look, you as a youngster, you got to walk into a change room full of experienced pros and be humble. You have to have the respect, and you also have to earn your respect. You cannot just walk in there because you're one of the best youngsters in the country. No, you got to go out there and earn it, and you have to show it every single day until you win the change room over. yeah, you come in with a different attitude, and you'll be sidelined. You'll be a very good player, but you won't reach your full potential at that time because you already surpass some of the players, or in your mind you are better than what's out there. I think the respect needs to go out first. You need to humble yourself. You obviously have to prove why you are there, and the only way you do that is through performance. Nothing else. You can be the handsome guy in the change room. You can be the funny guy. They don't care about that. How you get and earn your respect is through performance. And that's what I've learned over the years of being a pro footballer.
Look, I mean, you've listed a few things there: handsome, funny, and earning your way. I don't know.
Fortunately,
are you talking about yourself? Are you talking about yourself? You know?
Yes.
I mean, when you speak of, I mean, we're obviously talking about youngsters bursting onto the scene. I mean, how old are you? You were 17, 18, playing in
I was 17 when I made my debut.
Playing in the South African top flight, and no doubt, like you said, there would have been butterflies there, but you went out there, your first game, you went out there and you showed that, hey man, I'm someone, and remember my name.
Yeah, of course. I think that was my aim. I didn't expect it to go so fast. I got a chance when I was 17. I mean, I had to choose sometimes between school and training, and that was a difficult thing for me to do. And I got called up, and we traveled to FNB Stadium against Chiefs, and I made my debut over there. It was unbelievable. You come onto a field that you never thought you'd rub shoulders with the likes of Arthur Swane and some of our top coaches of today. Back then, obviously, a very good player. Fabian McCarthy was one that I was always watching on TV, and I got to play against him, dribbled him. Absolutely fantastic. I
wanna go fetch him and ask him, hey, Stinger dribbled you or what?
Yeah. Sense as well. I mean, they were really, really scared of a youngster, because you come in, you're fresh, you want to give absolutely everything you have. And that is the scary part. When you have the hunger, and if you look at a player like Ronaldo, Messi, that stays hungry, that is the most dangerous player, because they just want to keep on achieving, improving. And yeah, you see the results. They become the best players in the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Stanton. And again, some really fascinating points. I was watching The Last Dance, Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. And when he came into the Bulls team, his mentality was, I want to go past, I want to find out who's the big dog, and then I want to show him that I'm the real dog. And straight away there, that team is yours, in a way. Obviously, sometimes it's not as straightforward as that. But when you are able to just, without saying anything, it doesn't have to be an arrogant way or in your face. It's just to show that on the field, I'm a dog, I'm a killer, and I get things done.
Yeah, of course. With that mentality, you're going to go somewhere. If you're just coming and because you're there and you're just part of the 22-man squad, you tend to fall into some routine and acceptance where you're on the bench, whether you play or not. But some people go there and they want to actually take over. Like you said, they want to become the real dog. And when you become the real dog, you then have to stay the real dog. You can't just be hot for one season and then the next season you're not. So the higher you climb, the harder you have to work to stay there. And for me, I think bursting onto the scene, I didn't want to be the big dog. I just wanted to get my chance. And through performance, you then just automatically become one of the real dogs of the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Stanton. And I mean, yeah, some truly fascinating points. And what I've loved about today's particular show is that we've managed to, I guess, dive into some of the human aspects, the mentality of not only succeeding at the highest level, but also being able to produce the goods week in and week out. But I think in conclusion, obviously the major talking point for today was Bafana Bafana, how they went about their business, striking in general. But in conclusion, you look at it, 4 points, 2 games. is it a good starting place for Bafana Bafana to build and potentially qualify for the World Cup? I mean, we have not played at a World Cup since we hosted it. We haven't qualified for the World Cup since, 2002? Not great numbers, those.
No, the stats, they're not great at all. Look, the past is the past. We always look forward. I think what has happened in the past, we should learn from. Back to your point, qualifying looks like a reality now. 4 points, 2 games. Who expected it? You're playing against Zimbabwe, which is a good team. You have Ghana, who we thought, at least a draw, and we managed to scrape through here and get the 3 points that we need. I think it's a huge possibility. I think it's a reality now for the boys. You saw after the game how they were celebrating like they qualified, but they know how much it means to the country. I think we need to focus, keep the same group. The players need to work harder, stay in the team, and maybe just try and stay home for the next couple of months while we in this phase, because once they qualify for the World Cup, I mean, then it's we've broken that cycle of not qualifying for any World Cup.
Oh, what do you mean by stay home?
So I mean, stay home, don't go out, don't go to parties, stay away from Corona.
Be well behaved.
Yeah. Yes, have a glass of wine with your wife or your girlfriend, and just live a clean life. And 100%, we will always give a better performance week in, week out, guaranteed.
Yeah, I hear you. And, one of the interesting things, I look at the group, and Ethiopia is another team. For those of you who don't know, Ethiopia, Ghana, South Africa, as well as Zimbabwe, they're all in one group. We've played against them. We've played against Ghana. Ethiopia is next. And whatever, in the past, when you play these teams that you really just should be beating, man, Stiga. Yo, I don't know. Huh?
Yeah, go in, you undermine them, you underestimate them. Maybe that's what Ghana did when they seen our team, because I know they were looking for the Bongani Zungus and the Luther Singh Serreros, and they must have thought, okay, well, who's this youngsters? That is something that we should never do. We should never take anything for granted. Give everything that we have. And yeah, Ethiopia is just another a team. They will come out wanting to beat South Africa, obviously. But we can't, I don't want to say go down to their level. I don't know what level they're at, but I'm sure that we have the upper hand on that one.
I go back to 2012, Bafana Bafana versus Ethiopia. 1-1. Ethiopian team that barely had any professional players. Again, not fond memories, but like you said, maybe the past is the past. Maybe we've turned over a new leaf and the young players will be hungry and want to go out there. But as a nation that prides itself in football, we've got to get 6 points from Ethiopia. That should be a non-negotiable.
No, I think with the coach, he looks like a planner. He looks like he studied some of the countries in our group. Obviously he studied all. He was gunning for the 6 points against Ethiopia. That's 100%. I mean, even my son, my 13-year-old, will say South Africa will beat Ethiopia on a soccer field. They might just have a lot of runners, but that's about it in my opinion. But like I said, you can't take anything for granted. You still have to go out there and do the work. Once you do the work, come off the field. If you have to smash them 5-0, 7-0, I think that's where we lack, is that we would be happy with a 1-0, whereas we could win by a huge margin because at the end of the round, we need the goals. And that is something we need, is killer instinct.
Do you know the one thing I'm hoping for? The one thing I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we won't have to bring out our phones and then start using calculators. That is all I'm praying for. No calculators, please. Please, we don't want calculators.
I don't think at this stage we'll need the calculators. I think there hasn't been too many goals scored. So yeah, you wouldn't need a calculator. You'd work it out just by looking at the numbers.
Stanton, Lewis, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a family man and you got to tuck the kids away. Say hello to everyone. I hope I'll see you guys soon. And yeah, man, let's hope that Bafana Bafana gets over the line and gets the job done. And again, a big thank you for being, I guess, a family member of the FisMaz and for all the incredible insight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Fiso.
All right, so Stanton, Lewis, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, it's a wrap for this week. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And yeah, keep liking the show, subscribing, and making sure you're following our progress and our growth. And we look forward to sharing some of the really, really hot topics that are happening, not only in South African sport, but all across the globe. Make sure that you, again, subscribe to make sure you get all of the notifications when we do post new shows, because you know what? I've got a really special show. If you're following the European transfer market, stay tuned, because I've got a big fish that's joining me next time. From me, Fiso Mazibuko, thank you very much. Thank you to our guests, and thank you to everyone who has supported the show throughout the years. Cheers.